This is the inside of the 2021 Auto Sleeper Warwick XL. If I firstly go to the main control panel, you'll see that we can turn the 12 volt on and off just here. Along the top of the control panel we have the external temperature. We'll get a little picture of a sun every now and then whenever the solar panel is active. The lightning strike is just letting us know that we are currently hooked up to mains electric. We then have the humidity and the internal temperature just there. Day, date, etc. just there. Underneath 12 volt on and off, we then have water pump on and off. We need the water pump on so we can get water out of the taps, fill the boiler if it's been drained down. We then have water levels, so how much water is in the fresh tank and how much water is in the waste tank. And then we have power levels, so condition of leisure battery, condition of vehicle battery, the active battery current, the mains current if you're hooked up, and then the solar current just there. On this side we then have the main isolator for the lights. If they are these touch ones, as soon as they go off, to turn them back on again you will need to touch them again. We then have warning light on and off. It will also activate the little entrance light just here as well. Battery selection, so L for leisure, V for vehicle. Whichever battery you've selected on this screen just here is the battery that you are charging when you're hooked up to the main supply. If we now press the cog, we'll go into the settings menu. So you'll see at the moment that the batteries are set in smart mode. So basically they will cycle. So at the moment, the main supply is charging the leisure and the solar is charging the vehicle. After a few hours, they will then switch. And then after a few hours again, they'll then switch back again. This is the easiest way to just have them left. We have automatic tank fill for the whale filler on the outside. So just highlight this to make this active. And then we have tank heaters at the bottom just here. So if these are active, if the temperature outside drops below about 3-4 degrees, they'll then come on to avoid any frost damage occurring to the tanks. We then have lights that will come on when you turn the power on. At the moment they're all off. You can just switch between whatever preference you prefer. Key beeps on and off. Water level alarms for the fresh and the waste tank on and off. The brightness of the backlight and how quickly this screen times out when you're not touching it. We then have time and date set, and then back to the beginning again. Beside this control panel, we have the control panel for the whale heating and hot water systems. So you'll see we have water heater and heating. If I begin to press the button, you'll see we get a series of icons until we end up at off. So the first one there with a little picture of a snowflake, which is frost protection. So if you're planning on not really heating your hot water, but you have hot water in the boiler itself, you can put it onto this one here. And again, if the temperature drops, it will just click on to avoid frost damage. We then have one wavy line. Wavy lines represent main supply. I always round this up and I just class it as 1 kilowatt. And then we have two wavy lines, so 2 kilowatts. So these two just dependent on the amperage of the site that you're on. We then have gas on its own. And then after that we have dual fuel. So if you have both power sources available, you can put it onto this. So dual fuel at 1 and dual fuel at 2. Very handy if you want hot water extremely quickly, or if there's going to be more than one of you having showers in quick succession of each other. Whenever you are consuming gas, you will get a little flame just appear where my finger is. If we then drop to the heating, very similar again. We have a single wavy line, so main supply, but this time about 500 watts. we then have 2 wavy lines, so about 1 kilowatt, and then 3 wavy lines, about 2 kilowatts. After that again, we have gas on its own, and then we have dual fuel again. And exactly the same as with the boiler, you'll get a flame whenever you're consuming gas. Plus and minus to pick your temperature. Whale kind of recommend this little moon here as a night mode. The temperature is low, and it also keeps the fan nice and quiet as well. If there's a problem in any shape or form with either the heating or the water heater, you will get little red exclamation marks appear. If it's for the water heater and you've got a red exclamation mark, just hold the button here and you'll get a series of little red lights appear. And then within the manual, if you Google it, it'll tell you what the problem is. And if it's for the heating, again, just hold it and it will tell you what the problem is. If it's something that's easily rectifiable, you'll need to still reset the control panel. And the way you do this, if it's the water heater, just hold and press the plus button to reset. And if it's for the heating, hold and press the plus button to reset this one. If we now move to the rear of the van, and I just remove the cushions from this bench seat, and now we just lift up, you'll see that we have storage beneath. We also have underneath here the leisure battery and the battery charger just here. You will also see just back there the solenoid that allows the water into the van when using the whale filling system. Also in here we have the boiler. To drain the boiler down for winterization, we just need to come to this point here and you'll see the drain tap just there. Make sure the water pump is turned off and then slide across like so to drop all the water out of the boiler. I always suggest that if you are fully draining the van down, especially if you're winterizing it, that you then go round and open up all the taps as well. This will help release any airlocks in the system, and then the system will hopefully drain down better. When it comes to refilling it, have it back in the position it is now, close all the taps, fill up the fresh water tank, and then turn the water pump on. The water pump will then begin to prime the system again. Open up the taps again. They'll cough and splutter as they force the air out. Once they're running on hot and cold freely, shut them back down again, and then the system will fully reprime. Under the other bench seat, we mainly have storage. We also have tucked in the corner just here some of the gas isolation taps for the van. They are all in the on position and can quite frankly stay like that. I would say if you do smell gas in the van, go to the source, basically go underneath it and isolate it actually at the tank itself. But the top one there is for the fridge, the middle one for the heating, and the bottom one for the cooker. The consumer unit is located just here. So we have the trip switches just here. So we have the 3 individual grey MCBs, the main RCD and the yellow test button just there. If something's not working on mains, this is your first port of call to see whether or not you've tripped. Beside that, we then have the 12 volt fuses, and again they're all numbered up, no different than the MCBs, and they all correspond in the Auto Sleeper handbook. Isolator buttons along the top just here. So these are for components that use mains electricity. So we have the amber one for the heating and hot water system. So if I turn that off there and we were trying to run the heating or the hot water on the whale control panel, we would get a red exclamation mark because this is turned off. Really, this can just be left alone. It's more for maintenance. We have the green one there for the battery charger. Again, if I turn that off, we will not be able to charge either the leisure or vehicle batteries from the main supply. This one here will illuminate if we have reverse polarity connected to the van. This can sometimes be found on some continental sites. And then we have full system shutdown just here. So if you're planning on not using the van for long periods of time, you can press this black button here and fully shut the system down. In the wardrobe, we have the tabletop and table pole that can drop in the hole at the back just here. Also in here we have the digital amplifier for the max view television aerial on the roof, on and off just here, and then control the boost just there. TV points just here, so we have the aerial fly lead in, and then we have the 12 volt supply just there. Thetford fridge, on and off just here. This is an automatic model, so as long as you are on A for auto, it will find the best power source it can for you. So because we're currently hooked up to main supply, we've got the little picture of the 2-pin plug just here. If I was now to run outside and pull the mains lead out, it would then automatically attempt to fire itself up onto gas. And as soon as we start the engine, it will then automatically go over to 12 volt maintain to keep itself cold whilst on the move. As you can see, the screen will go dark again after a few seconds, but you can see it's still active with the little blue light. If I now tap it, it will re-illuminate. We can take it out of auto if we want to, just by pressing, and we can manually run it on mains. Manually run it on 12 volt maintain. We're going to get an error code at the moment because the engine's currently not running, and I can manually run it on gas. But auto is the easiest option to have it on. Temperature control just here. Above we have the microwave. The isolator switch for it is just here. This will work when we're hooked up to main supply. This particular microwave does not require a microwave plate. We then have the usual stuff. We've got instant start and stop, etc. But then we've got all the power settings as normal. Three gas rings just here. Push in, twist and press the igniter. And then underneath that we have both oven and grill. So push in to the left for the oven. And to the right for the grill. Storage beneath. And storage just here as well. Extractor fan, 2 variable fan speeds, and then lights as well. Above we have plate holder, and we also have just tucked here the Warwick mobile Wi-Fi. To use this you will need to insert the SIM card first of all from the book pack. This all just comes off, it's on a little magnet. Once you've inserted the SIM card, then just power it up just here, and then you'll be able to, or I should say the Wi-Fi code will then be displayed. You will then be able to find it when searching for Wi-Fi, pop the code in, and then you'll link up to it. You'll then be diverted to the SIM provider's website where you can pay the subscription. Washroom just here. So in here you will find we have the shower cubicle, do make sure that the shower screen is fully secure for travel. We then have the toilet, bowl does swivel about, open to the cassette just here, push to flush just on top, and then close to the cassette again. Do make sure that this is closed, as if you try to remove the cassette from the outside it will not come out until it has been. If you are feeling resistance, just come and check to see if somebody's left it open. Level indicator for the cassette just there, so it will rotate round to red when it needs emptying. With the sleeping arrangements, we can have either 2 single beds or 1 large double. If you're going to have the double, it's just slide both sections out until they meet in the middle. And then I personally flip these over, but it's down again to personal preference. And then it's literally just pop these in the middle, like so. The seat rotates around on this red lever just here, and then tucked behind the driver's seat you will find some more 12-volt fuses. They are for stuff more on the outside of the motorhome, like marker lights